There are five levels of wealth, and most people will spend their entire lives stuck at level two. Not because they cannot earn more, not because they lack intelligence or discipline, but because they fundamentally misunderstand what each level requires. They think moving up is about making more money. It is not. It is about changing behavior. And most people never make that change. Level one is survival, level two is stability. Level 3 is freedom. Level 4 is abundance. Level 5 is legacy. Each level requires different skills, different priorities, different ways of thinking about money, and the behaviors that get you from 1 to 2 will not get you from 2 to 3. You have to change. And most people do not. Here's what makes this so critical. The gap between level 2 and level 3 is wider than the gap between 0 and level 2. Not financially, psychologically, because getting to level 2 is about escaping fragility, but getting to level 3 is about building independence. And independence requires letting go of behaviors that feel safe, that feel responsible, that got you to level 2 in the first place. This is why most people plateau. They reach level 2, they feel secure, and they stop pushing. They spend decades there, comfortable but not free, stable but not wealthy, and they never realized that level 3 was only a few years away if they had just changed their approach. Let me show you what each level actually looks like and why most people never escape level 2. Level 1 is where most people start. You are living paycheck to paycheck. You have little to no savings. One unexpected expense can destabilize everything: a medical bill, a car repair, a surprise tax payment. Any of these can push you into debt or force you to choose between necessities. At level 1, money is a constant source of stress. You are always calculating, always worrying, always one mistake away from crisis. Your decisions are driven entirely by short term necessity. You take the first job offer because you need income now. You stay in situations that drain you because leaving feels too risky. You avoid any expense that is not immediately required. This is survival mode, and it distorts everything. You cannot think long term because the present is too unstable. You cannot invest because you need every dollar for baseline expenses. You cannot build wealth because you are too busy defending against poverty. Getting out of level 1 requires one thing: building a small emergency fund, $500, 1,000, enough to absorb minor shocks without collapsing. And most people can get there within 6 to 12 months if they prioritize it. Cut unnecessary expenses. Take extra shifts. Sell things you do not need. Do whatever it takes to build that first cushion. Because once you have it, everything changes. You are no longer fragile. You are no longer one bad week away from disaster. You have margin, small margin, but margin. And that margin is what allows you to start thinking beyond survival. Um, Most people escape level 1, not all, but most. If you are watching this video, you are likely past level 1. The real trap is level 2. Level 2 is where most people spend their entire lives. You have an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. You have stable income. You pay your bills on time. You are not worried about survival anymore. You have achieved stability, and stability feels good. At level 2, you can handle most unexpected expenses without panic. Your car breaks down. Annoying, but manageable. You need dental work, you dip into savings and rebuild. You lose your job, you have runway to find another one without immediately panicking. This is a massive upgrade from level 1. You are no longer fragile, you are no longer living in constant fear. You have breathing room, and that breathing room allows you to make better decisions. You can negotiate salary because walking away does not threaten your survival. You can invest small amounts. You can think a few months ahead instead of just days or weeks. But here is the trap: level 2 feels so much better than level 1 that most people stop here. They convince themselves they have made it. that they are doing well compared to most people, and they are. Level 2 is better than where most people start, but it is not freedom. It is not wealth. It is just stability. At level 2, you still need your job, you still need your paycheck, you still trade time for money, you still cannot say no without consequences. You have options, but limited options. You have margin, but narrow margin. You are stable, but not free. And most people spend 20 or 30 or 40 years here. They maintain level 2. They protect it, they optimize it, but they never push beyond it because pushing beyond it requires doing things that feel risky when you are comfortable, and comfortable is the enemy of growth. Uh, Here is why level 2 is so dangerous. It feels like success. You have an emergency fund, you have stable income, you are saving a little for retirement, you can afford some luxuries, you take vacations, you eat out, you drive a decent car. By most standards, you are doing well, and that feeling of doing well is what traps you, because once you feel successful, you stop behaving like someone who is building wealth. You start behaving like someone who has arrived. You ease off. You spend more freely. You say yes to lifestyle upgrades. You convince yourself you deserve to enjoy what you have built. But what you have built is not wealth, it is stability. And stability without growth is just an expensive treadmill. You are earning, you are spending, you are maintaining, but you are not building. And without building, you stay at level 2 forever. Let me show you what this looks like. You have 20,000 saved. You earn 75,000 a year. You save 5,000 a year. You are doing better than most people. You feel responsible, but at that rate, it will take you 16 years to reach 100,000. And 100,000 is just the beginning of level 3. 16 years. That is the timeline if nothing goes wrong. If you never have a major emergency, if you never lose income, if you never make a large purchase. And most people do not make it because something always happens. Life intervenes, and level 2 does not have enough margin to absorb major disruptions and keep building. So you stay stuck, you restart, you rebuild, you maintain, but you never break through because the behaviors that got you to level 2 are not enough to get you to level 3. Level 3 is freedom, and freedom has a specific definition. It is the point where your passive income or investment returns cover a significant portion of your baseline expenses. You no longer need to work purely for survival. You work because you want to, because projects interest you, because you are building something, not because you need every dollar of the paycheck. Level 3 starts at 100,000 invested. This is where compounding finally has enough mass to feel real. At 100,000 earning 8%, you generate $8,000 a year, $666 a month. That is not enough to live on, but it is enough to feel the shift. Your money is starting to work. At 250,000 invested, you are generating 20,000 a year, $1,666 a month. Now it matters. That could be rent, that could be groceries and utilities. Your investments are covering real expenses. At 500,000 invested, you are generating 40,000 a year, $3,300 a month. For many people, that covers baseline expenses entirely. You could stop working tomorrow and survive. You would not be living luxuriously, but you would be free. This is level 3, the range from 100,000 to 500,000 invested, where freedom goes from theoretical to real, where work shifts from necessity to choice. But getting here requires changing everything about how you operate at level 2. At level 2, you save 5 to 10% of your income. At level 3, you need to save 20 to 30% or more. At level 2, you let lifestyle increase with income. At level 3, you keep lifestyle flat while income grows. At level 3, you prioritize capital over consumption every single time. And that shift is hard, Because it requires sacrificing comfort today for freedom tomorrow. And most people at level two are not willing to make that trade. They feel like they have been responsible long enough. They feel like they deserve to enjoy life, so they stay at level two, comfortable, stable, but never free. Pause and think about this for a second. The difference between level two and level three is not income. Plenty of people earning 200,000 a year are stuck at level two, and some people earning 60,000 have reached level three. The difference is savings rate and lifestyle control. At level two, you save what is left after spending. At level three, you spend what is left after saving. That inversion is everything because saving what is left means your savings fluctuates with your discipline. Some months you save, some months you do not. Progress is inconsistent, slow, but spending what is left means savings happens first, automatically, before you see the money, before you can spend it. And that automation removes willpower from the equation. You are not choosing to save every month, you are choosing once, and the system does the rest. This is the shift from manual savings based on leftover money to automatic savings based on predetermined amounts. And that shift is what separates people who stay at level two from people who reach level three. The people who break through are the ones who realize that level two is not the destination, it is the checkpoint, the place where you catch your breath before pushing toward freedom. And freedom is worth more than any lifestyle upgrade level two can offer. Level four is abundance. You have 500,000 to 2 million invested. Your passive income exceeds your baseline expenses. You do not need earned income to survive. Work is entirely optional. You do it because you want to, because it is meaningful, because it challenges you, not because you need the money. At level four, you could stop working tomorrow and nothing would change. Your bills would still get paid. Your lifestyle would continue. Your investments would keep growing. You have decoupled time from money, and that decoupling is what abundance actually means. Let me make this concrete. At 1 million invested earning 5%, you generate 50,000 a year. You no longer check your account balance before making decisions. You do not calculate whether you can afford things. You choose restaurants based on what sounds good, not what costs less. You help family members without destabilizing your own finances. Um, your investments earn more than many people make working full time. This is what most people imagine when they think about wealth, but very few reach it because getting from level three to level four requires maintaining the behaviors that got you to level three. And most people do not. They reach level three, they feel free, and they relax, they increase spending, they reduce savings, and they plateau at level three for decades. The people who reach level four are the ones who understand that the behaviors that build wealth do not stop once you feel comfortable. They keep saving, they keep investing, they keep avoiding lifestyle inflation, not because they need to, but because they want to reach level four. And level four is worth the continued discipline. Level five is legacy. You have 2 million or more invested. Your passive income significantly exceeds your expenses. You have more money than you will spend in your lifetime. And you start thinking about what to do with the surplus, how to use it to create impact, how to help others, how to leave something behind that matters. At level five, wealth is no longer about you. It is about what you can build with it, what causes you can support, what opportunities you can create for others, what you can leave to your children or your community or the world. At 2 million invested earning 5%, you generate 100,000 a year, more than most people earn working, and you are doing nothing. This is rare. Very few people reach level 5, not because it is impossible, but because it requires decades of discipline, decades of prioritizing capital over consumption, decades of staying focused when everyone around you is spending freely. And most people do not have that kind of sustained discipline, But the people who do reach it experience something most people never will. They experience the freedom to live entirely on their own terms, to pursue projects that matter without any concern for financial return, to help others in meaningful ways, to leave a mark that lasts beyond their lifetime. Now, watch what happens next. The hardest jump is not from one to two. Most people can escape survival with discipline and time. The hardest jump is from two to three, from stability to freedom, and here is why. At level one, you are scared, fear drives you, you are desperate to escape fragility. So you do whatever it takes. You sacrifice, you grind, you stay focused, and fear is a powerful motivator. It pushes you to level two, but at level two, fear disappears. You are no longer fragile, you are stable. And without fear, motivation weakens. You need a different driver, you need vision, you need to see what level three makes possible. And most people never develop that vision, so they coast, they maintain, and they never push through. Getting from two to three requires sacrificing comfort you already have for freedom you do not have yet. It requires saving aggressively when you could be spending comfortably. It requires saying no to upgrades when you can afford them. It requires staying disciplined when the immediate threat is gone and only long term benefit remains. And most people cannot do it. They reach level two and they think they have made it. They stop optimizing, they stop pushing, they let lifestyle creep absorb income increases, and they stay stuck for decades, sometimes forever. Here's how to know where you are. If you have less than 3 months' expenses saved, you are at level one. Your priority is building an emergency fund. Nothing else matters until you escape fragility. If you have 3 to 6 months' expenses saved, but less than 100,000 invested, you are at level two. You are stable, but not free. Your priority is increasing savings rate and building toward 100,000. That is the threshold where everything changes. If you have 100,000 to 500,000 invested, you are at level three. You have some freedom, some optionality. Your priority is maintaining discipline and building toward full financial independence. If you have 500,000 to 2 million invested, you're at level four. You have abundance. Your priority is deciding what to do with surplus, how to use wealth to create impact. If you have more than 2 million invested, you are at level five. You have legacy. Your priority is determining what you want to leave behind. Most people watching this are at level two, stable but not free. And the question is whether you will stay there or push through to level three, because that decision determines everything that comes next. Imagine being 55 years old, still commuting, still sitting in meetings that do not matter, still negotiating for salary increases, still trading time for money, and realizing you have been at level two for 30 years. Not because you could not build more, but because you stopped pushing when it started feeling comfortable. You have been stable for 3 decades, but you were never free. You maintained, you protected, you optimized level two, but you never broke through to level three, and now you realize that freedom was only a few years away if you had just prioritized it, if you had just kept the discipline, if you had just resisted the lifestyle creep. That is the reality for most people. They reach level two at 30, and they are still at level two at 60. 30 years of stability, 0 years of freedom, because they never made the behavioral shift, because they never realized that level two is not the destination. Level two to level three is the line most people never cross, not because they cannot, but because they stop trying. They convince themselves that stability is enough, and they spend their entire lives comfortable but trapped. But you can be different. You can decide right now that level two is not where you stay. That stability is just the foundation for freedom. That comfort is not the same as wealth. You can push through, you can change the behaviors, you can build toward level three. And once you do, everything changes. You stop maintaining and start building. You stop coasting and start accelerating. You stop being stable and start becoming free. Level two is where most people live their entire lives, but it does not have to be where you stay. Level three is closer than you think. It just requires deciding that freedom matters more than comfort. And that decision is the difference between spending your life stable and spending your life free.